All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Rust Gamedev Meetup for July. I'm pretty excited for this. This month we got a lot of cool stuff to take a look at. Also, we had the Rusty Jam just happen last month, and so I haven't really figured out how I'm going to put it into the schedule, but we'll play through some of the Rusty game submissions. So I think that'll be pretty nifty, and yes, we'll see how that goes. So as always, I want to hear from people what they've been working on this month, and so that's what this meetup is. It's an opportunity for people to come show off the cool work that they've been doing, give it a little bit of a platform, but also hear from people in the chat and on Discord about what you've been up to. And so if you mention what kind of stuff you've been working on either Twitch or YouTube or Discord, I'll take a look there and make sure to do some shout outs for people. Yeah, so I see in chat right now someone said this meetup has the best intro music ever, and so I found this song, and like I've listened to a lot of the other stuff by the artist. It's really good stuff, I think, but then it's very polarizing. It's either, oh my goodness, I love this so much, and I do too, I think it's pretty great, or on the other side it's like, oh my goodness, why you're playing elevator music. And so it's like, what can you do? I do also want to mention, in terms of Discord, I'm also trying to do streaming. So I stream directly to YouTube and to Twitch, but I'm also trying to stream into the Discord. So I just have my profile in there right now, and it's just restreaming the broadcast. And so if you want to go watch it there, it's kind of nice because you can see everybody else who's watching it with you. Totally up to you how you want to consume. Yeah, so I like doing announcements at the beginning last month, so I think we're going to do that again. So first off, as I mentioned, the Rusty Jam 2 just finished up right here. And so this ran for, I think, a week, and then there was judging for a week afterwards. 17 submissions, which was really cool. A ton of ratings, 10 times as many ratings, which we love to see. And so this is pretty interesting. For this jam, the theme was this image, and then you can interpret it however you like. You can make whatever you like based on this. So I was going to go in, and it was like, let me try to remember what I was going to do, because I looked at this and I was like, okay, I don't want to just do surface level something. I want to do something like either duality. I think that was like this year's Global Game Jam theme. So something that's like, it invokes a feeling from this image, not necessarily the literal of dogs and chickens, but I'm very excited to see how many jam ones are like very much dogs and chickens. So this would be very cool to check out. Yeah, so I think we'll play through some of that today. I'll probably save it towards the end just so we know how much time we have with all of the rest of the speakers and everything. So I also want to mention this month's newsletter is out. As always, you can go to gamedev.rs, and we have the newsletter right here. I do also want to point out we have just released another Rust Gamedev podcast episode with Cart, the developer of Bevy. And so for me, this is a really cool one. I've like known, or I looked into Cart's past, and I know he's like done stuff with Godot and a lot of game engines and stuff like that. And so I was really interested to talk about what kind of stuff went on there. So this is a really great episode. Definitely check it out. And also my friend made the mascot for the Rusty Jam. So congrats to Veronica for making the mascot, and then also got like the congratulations to the winners, of course. And okay, I mean, spoiler, I didn't put this in the tweet that I put out this morning, but we do have Carlo here today to talk about the arcade cabinet, so that's gonna be pretty interesting. But anyways, it's only 3 minutes past the hour. I thought I've been talking for like 10 minutes already. But anyways, let us get into today's content. Wait, that's wrong screen. There we go. So 4 different presentations today. We're starting with the arcade cabinet. We're gonna be talking about Blackjack. I'm really excited to see what the updates of Dotricks have been. And as always, we have Graphite here at the end to tell us what they've been up to this month. So without further ado, we will be back in just a minute with Carlo, who will tell us about the arcade cabinet. All right. Hello, Carlo. How's it going?
Hi, it's going well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I forgot to hit you up because, okay, yesterday, half of Canada's internet was down. So I'm like, we're either going to have today's meetup or we're not.
Right.
But then I forgot to reach out to people. And so this morning I hit up Carlo like half an hour before we started. I'm like, yo, do you want to show stuff off today? Because I know there's updates and I'd love to see them. So Carlo, what you got for us?
Yeah. So, I'm starting to put games on the cabinet. That's the big update to what I'm doing. but yeah, for people who don't know about this project, I'll just give a quick introduction. So this is an arcade cabinet that will be at RustConf in person in August. So attendees can play the games. So I'm going to load it up with games made with the Rust language. And it's a chance for developers to just show off their games to the broader community. And I'm just going to share my screen quick.
Yeah, it's really cool seeing the picture of it like put together and something running on it, and like outside of the CAD design side of things, it's now physical.
Yeah, it's real now. It's kind of the biggest thing I've designed and brought to life, and it's very surreal for me too.
Nice.
But yeah, this is the first game I got it. This is Michael Ramirez's. It was a submission to what was it, Bevy Jam, and it's called Quienes El Mecaburo, and I'll just play it here quick. But yeah, the controls work well. I kind of figured out the mapping. I'll show that this month. But basically, this is an Xbox controller, so I can kind of pull up these images. But yeah, so these, this is the A button on top. This is the B button, and so it maps. You can just pretend that you're, making your game compatible with an Xbox controller using this image, and the controls will work. So I kind of tested that, and it luckily turned out to be really easy. So that was really nice.
Nice. Yeah,
but so for updates, I'm adding games. That was the first one. It was Quienes El Mecaburo by Michael Ramirez, and I have two more. Here's that one. How do you say it? Veto Voima. This one is almost there. There's a little bit of a scaling issue, but there is a workable build on the cabinet. So this one's really cool. So you manipulate gravity, and it's you try to avoid obstacles and get your character to a goal. And then I also have Boing. It's like Pong, except it's very hard. I don't know how they got it to be this hard, but it's very hard. The AI is so good. This is really fun to play too. So those are the 3 games on the cabinet so far. So
I do appreciate that Pong is making it onto the cabinet. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's great. I love it so much. I'm sure people are gonna have a lot of fun with it. And yeah, the only thing that I want to note right now, since this is like traditionally a 2-player game, is that right now the cabinet is only single player. I have plans in the future to add a second monitor and second set of inputs, but that just wasn't going to make it for RustConf in time. So right now it's just a single player cabinet. So those are the games on, and I guess I'll get to this next thing. This was the organization for Rust Arcade, is what I'm calling the project. So I made a plugin for Bevy. It's called Bevy Rust Arcade, and it just makes it easy to map the controls. I'm gonna add. That's all it does right now, but I'm gonna add more things like hiding the mouse and scaling. Getting the correct resolution. But right now, it just will help you get the controls right. So that's on Bevy Rust Arcade. And so the next update is I started actually, by the way, little side note, I did participate in the Rusty Jam 2. We made Chimera Rancher. We got 4th, and it was really fun to make. It was a fun break from the arcade cabinet.
Yeah.
But we have started working on, well, the art's all done. So just finished all the art yesterday. And so next week, I'm going to go to the vinyl sticker place and get the stickers applied. So I'm going to have to partially disassemble this, but hopefully it won't take that long, and then I can get back to testing games very soon. Yeah, and then the other thing is I finally figured out, I was also researching shipping and transportation for this. I've never ship something this big.
Yeah.
And and it matters for people submitting games, because how long do they have? And basically I settled on doing a road trip. So I'm gonna be leaving August 2nd, And so that's basically, before then, I need to have a working game to get your game on there, because after that I'm going to be doing a road trip and won't really have time.
Yeah, so that's like the cutoff point for when people can get stuff on here.
Yeah, so I'd say, I think the weekend before, I think it's like July 31st, end of the month. Try to get games to me by then. So I guess I'll go over the timeline too. So I'm still, it's not too late to submit games. I have, on like almost all of my tweets about it, I have a Google form that you can fill out, and then I can contact you from there. But of course, if you just reach out to me, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Discord. Just reach out to me anywhere, and I'll work with you to get your game on if you want it. But yeah, so I'm still, it's not too late to get your games on. And then also, currently, like I said, I'm working with devs that's the main thing I'm doing now, is working with developers to get their games compatible. And I'm going to start writing some guys. I'm probably going to write like an MD book on that, this organization here that will help, just a guide to help people get their games compatible. And yeah, okay. So I guess next on how to get involved. So interest form, follow me for updates on Twitter. I'm also going to be making a video on YouTube soon. I'm started on that, on kind of the process of making this. So that should be fun. A little behind the scenes look at what went into it. And of course, also, I don't know how to say his name, but Theory Burger reached out to me, and I believe he's working on a simulator for this. So it's really cool to see that. I think that'll be really, really helpful for people. So if you're interested, reach out to me. If you have, interested in working on the launcher, on documentation, simulator, anything, reach out to me, and I'll be happy to bring more people into this project. Yeah, for right now, I guess I should mention that for the launcher, we had a little conversation on the Bevy Discord, and this weekend I was just going to see how Steam big picture mode worked for this. Yeah,
that would be really good. You have the controls built in and everything.
Yeah, and then maybe see how that works, and then that way, if that works, that's great for this conference, and then we can work on something more specific in the future. But yeah, things like that are ways to get involved. And then lastly, it's this project's really expensive, so I have a Patreon at, let's see if I can find a link here. Yeah, it's Metalmancy, patreon.com/Metalmancy, if you want to help support the project and support. I plan on continuing this into the future too, and hopefully add more features to the cabinet. So that pretty much covers everything. So
awesome. Yeah, and it sounds like it's on pretty good track so far. I think that there must be like some it seems to be coming together pretty well. But what's like, is there like one thing that you're like, oh my goodness, I don't know if we're gonna finish this before RustConf?
I think the only mystery right now is the vinyl stickers being made. I'm hoping that won't take more than a week, but I don't know, so we'll see. We'll see this week how that goes. That's the one I communicated with him, but I forgot to ask like exactly how long it'll take. So
yeah,
we'll see about that. Yeah. But that's also not a functional thing. So everything that is required to get this thing functional and working,
it's MVP right now. Yeah,
it's pretty much there. Like right now I have but so that's what's, I think I kind of set the priorities well, and so now everything else is sort of like the launcher's an extra thing that'll be nice, and we have 3 games that work, which love to have more, but yeah, I'm working on my own, so hopefully we'll have like as many as we're submitted, which is I think 15. So yeah, so everything's coming together. It works, so it's a functional project. Everything else that we're doing right now is kind of extra. So yeah.
And then I guess just looking at my calendar, next month the Rust Gamedev Meetup will be on the 13th, which means that I think RustConf will have already happened, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's on the 5th. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. So do you think you can come back in next month and give us like a post-mortem on how things went?
Yeah, I should be back for. Yeah, we're driving back, and I should be back by then. We're going to do a little road trip, but I should be
Nice.
back before then. So, yeah.
All right,
Yeah, I
good
should be
stuff.
able
Well,
to.
thank you so much, Carlo. It's always
Yeah.
great seeing where this is going. And as a reminder for anybody who wants to get involved, either reach out to Carlo on Twitter, Carlo Sapina, or on Discord, on the Rust Gamedev Discord. I'm sure you could take a look there and find out how to get involved with this. And so thank you very much, Carlo.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers. And we will be back in just a minute with Setzer. All right. Hello, Setzer. So you are here to talk to us today about Blackjack, and I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
So I will let you hop right into it.
Okay. So yeah, thanks for having me, and welcome to the all over the Blackjack, and the slightly longer title of the story of how I set out to build my own 3D modeling application in Rust. So everything started more or less around here. So this is the process. This is the game that I'm working on, and I was demoing this just a few months back in this meetup. And something I said back then is that, so in my project, most of the models are procedural. So what does this mean, really? And the thing is, I've been using this application called Houdini, and one that I like very much. Basically, you instead of creating 3D models like you would in Blender, in what they call the destructive workflow, where once you delete the face, it's gone. Here you create this graph of operations like a program, and so your whole model is defined as one of these graphs. And what this lets you do is take back some design decisions that you made at the beginning and tweak them without compromising all the steps that you did in between. And it's a very nice way of modeling and works perfectly for the kind of things that I'm going for with my game. So yeah, long story short, I love Houdini, but what I don't love so much about them is their spreadsheets. So if you're looking to buy Houdini, no compromises, so no shenanigans like you can get rich but not too much. You're looking like at $5,000 plus annual upgrades kind of license, which is completely out of scope for indie game developers like us. And yeah, you can get something that's more restricted, but like $200, but still something that most people are not going to be comfortable with. Like nobody is going to invest this amount of money so that then they can learn a whole new workflow and a whole new tool. So yeah, I can see how it's not so popular in the indie game space. But then Blender came and saved us all with their geometry nodes, or so I thought. So they put out this amazing demo where you could like scatter pebbles on top of a terrain, and it was amazing. And then I was like, what else can this thing do? And then I found another demo where they were scattering icing on top of a donut. And I was like, okay, and what else can I do besides scattering things? And yeah, so back then I was a bit, and that's probably completely unfair on me because, I mean, they are doing a great job and they are taking things slowly. I've heard that things have gotten way better right now with the amount of features and everything, and people are doing amazing things with Blender geometry nodes. But back then, I wasn't so happy about it. And there's this recurring topic with everything related to 3D modeling and 3D art in the industry, which basically comes down to this. Which, I mean, modeling software is not catering to us indie game developers or not even game developers sometimes, like in general. And you see that time and time again, where the part of the tooling that is made to interact with game engines is always subpar and has lots of compromises. Like you can not still export something cleanly into most game engines nowadays. So basically, my take on this is that it's way more lucrative to cater to the film industry, and most tools like Blender spend all this time and effort working on things like Cycles. Is their super fancy 3D renderer, which is not real time and is made to create like amazing effects for movies and things like that. And yeah, it's not just Blender. Actually, Houdini is much better in that regard. chances are, if you have seen like a movie lately and thought, oh, that's a cool visual effect they got there, well, it's probably made in Houdini in some way or another. This is Dune, by the way, and they put out this nice blog post about how people use Houdini to make all these all the effects, or most of the effects in the movie. So yeah, I mean, I had the feeling that none of the tools in the space of procedural modeling were really catering to me, to what I care about as a game developer and what I want to have put out my game out there. So I did the only thing a reasonable person would do, which is, go out and do my own thing. And yeah, how hard can it? Really? It hasn't been easy, but it's been lots of fun. And yeah, look, I made a thing. So we started with a quad, then 2 quads, all the way up to 6, and things ramped up from there. And I'm just gonna fast forward through lots of GIFs. I love taking short snippets of animations of things I do during development. Half edges, amazing things. Got beveling, cylinders, and yeah, lots of cool stuff. And yeah, even Godot at some point. We'll see that later. But anyway, I do this thing called Blackjack, and it's on GitHub. It's free for anyone to use, and put it on their game engine as a library, as we will see now. And yeah, right now, basically, this is the homepage of the project. So if you want to reach out, best place is there. There's the discussions board. Yeah, I'll be happy to talk about it. But yeah, we're not here just for the presentation. So now let's see some of this Blackjack in action. So let me see. So, okay, this is the main interface of Blackjack. You can see like your usual 3D viewport up here. We'll be using this panel for like some information later on. And down here is the graph. We'll see that in a moment. So yeah, let me drop down a box. I'll make this bigger. Oh, by the way, just a note on the tech stack. This is running on eGUI. Rendering is being done by WGPU, and I'm using Rend3 as the rendering library just to orchestrate all the render graph and everything. And it's been working very fine for me. So I'm happy with my changes so far. So yeah, let's drop down the box. And when I click here, this node becomes active. So this is the mesh that we are currently rendering right now. And you can play with the parameters. So if you edit the origin or the size of the box, you can make it bigger or smaller. And what you do here is composing operation. So let's like bevel a few edges. And here, unfortunately, we still don't have this thing where you can actually select edges by clicking, coming soon. But we can still do this and like look at the edge numbers. It's not the best thing, but kind of gets the job done. So I'm using 7, and then also we'll just bevel this a bit. Okay, and now let's drop in an extrude node. Sorry, not this one. And yeah, we'll extrude face number 5. And when it becomes active. So yeah, we have this thing that you squint a bit, looks like a car, some sort. But so the nice thing about this, and the point that I want to bring up with this crappy model, is that you can go back to the beginning of the model and redo one of your design decisions, like the initial box, which is driving everything else. So if I can make this shorter and everything falls down from there. That's the core idea of non-destructive modeling. You create the graph and then edit parameters at any point in the and more fine-grained resolution, but you get. So yeah, something else I wanted to show today is have some fun with lines. So here's a line. And this line is going to start at 0, 0, and we'll move it along the x-axis. This line right now has 2 points. You can see them as little green dots. Sorry if that doesn't come out creating the stream. But I can create like more segments. And as you can see now, we have more green dots. And what you can do in Blackjack is editing the information that is attached to each of the vertices, to each of the edges, and to each of the faces. So if we go here on the spreadsheet, we'll see that the vertices for this model have position channel. And this is actually the thing that the renderer is using to render these lines. So let's do a bit more thing. So let's edit the channels with this edit channels node. And we'll edit the position channel. Actually, just read from it for now, which is a back3, and the size channel, F32. And the side channel is not there. I'm actually creating it by doing this. And here, what I'm going to write is a function, and the function is going to be written in Lua, because that's the scripting language that I've chosen for this. So it's just a function of inputs, and input is just like a map containing all the channels that I'm reading, and this function will be run for every vertex. So let's create something on the side channel simply by returning a dictionary here. And yeah, if I do this, you'll see how now all of a sudden we have this side channel copying the position. Let's make it a bit shorter, and you'll see why. And yeah, let's now use this copy to points operation, which basically takes like a bunch of points, like the ones coming from this line, and the mesh. And for the mesh, I'm going to use like a UV sphere. So there we go. We have spawned one sphere on each of the points where the size of the sphere is the x position of that point times 0.25. And I could make that bigger or even bigger. So yeah. And if I add the number of segments of the line, I just get more spheres dynamic. It's very nice. And yeah, one more thing for this first part of the demo is like, let's do something cool with the position, which yeah, if I make like the y of the position channel is now like a sine function of the x. And yeah, one more thing now, I'm going to drop up some vector here on math. So the start point is at 0, 0, and the end point is at like 10, 0. So I'm just adding 10 to the initial vector. So right now I changed nothing, but now I have a single parameter which I can use to drive the initial point of the line. And yeah, off you go, you little guy. So you can make cool things with this, but yeah, this is just like a showcase. So next up, I'm going to be showing you the next demo for today, which is like a more useful thing or small scene that I made. And there you go. So this is like this procedural bridge that I built. And the idea is that you can imagine using this in your game as a tool for quick level prototyping. So if you have like platforms separated and you want to create bridges along them, you would just need like the start and the end point, and Blackjack would take care of generating the bridge for you, basically. And we are here, but let's go all the way back to the beginning. So again, everything starts with a line, just like we've seen. And I edit the channels. And as you can see here, well, there's a bunch of codes. Basically, what this is doing is like using normals, tangents, and positions for each point of this curve. And then I can use this together with this blank that I made. And if we use the same copy to points that we had before, now we have like the bridge. And I'm just going to disable like, yeah, go. Just looks a bit nicer. And also the, yeah. So here's this. Here's this bridge, and we also do something like there's this circle here. We just rotate it and make it like it's smaller, and we can use this with the original curve, with this extrude along curve, just to create like a tube that follows the curve shape, which is very nice. And so I've also made like a bunch more curves, basically by duplicating stuff. And oops, well, I wanted to show here's with the blanks, some boxes, and then I just make it look nicer. And if we go all the way back to the beginning, something that I like doing a lot is, where's the line? Here. So if you edit the number of segments, you are also editing the number of blanks in the bridge. So you're getting something that's very procedural. You can just you can imagine using this for your game and like depending on the distance, having more or less blanks in your line and just getting bridges automatically created for you. So that's the whole idea. But so one final thing I wanted to show today, and this is one that I haven't shown anywhere, even for those who follow me. So the thing is, I wanted to come out today and share something that would make me say, okay, I'm using Blackjack to solve an actual problem that I have. And this is the thing I came up with. So I made a happy little trick. Okay. The story is that for my game, for the process, I have these trees, which I was making in Houdini. And I was using this technique called L systems, which is basically what everyone uses to procedurally generate trees. And it was a pain in the ass because Houdini is not integrated with Godot. It's integrated with Unity and Unreal, but even then you get into proprietary shenanigans. So I wasn't comfortable, even if I were using Unity to include that in my game, let alone using like something like my own engine, like many people in the Rust community do. So yeah, what I did here was like, let's try bringing my procedural trees from Houdini, which I was, even though they're procedural, I was manually exporting them one by one because there was no better way to do it. So let's get that and bring it to Godot. And that's the last thing I'll be showing today. So first of all, just have a quick look at the graph. And this is like an L system. L systems are like this cool grammar thingy with replacement rules and like this turtle-like language here. I would not have time to explain this, but just anyone who doesn't know can Google this and you'll find lots of resources online. But basically, they let you create like these recursive structures. Like you could go in there and just build more and more complex vegetation. And yeah, these things, these formulas, you can come up with them. Like I could adapt these, or like plus is for rotating, or minus is for rotating into the other direction. And basically, you just copy a formula online, one that's a good base for the thing you're doing, and then tweak it a bit until it looks like however you want. So that's the idea. And one big revelation is that Blackjack doesn't have an L system node. So this is not something that's been made in Rust. This is like entirely written in user code via the scripting language. I'm just going to show it very quickly, but so basically here, it's in the repo for anyone who wants to have a go at looking at this. But basically, I could have made this in Rust, but the point was that I want Blackjack to be extendable. I'm working on having ways to make it extendable in Rust, but it's a bit of a pain because Rust does not play so well with like dynamic libraries and not having a stable API, yada yada. So anyway, I think Lua is a great fit for this, and we are not compromising that much on performance, because most of the time we're working on low poly models that don't even need that much processing power. So having something like Lua is great. And yeah, up to here, this file is just a big mess of many nodes, but mostly up to here, like 150 lines of code ish is the definition for this L system node. So not too much. So anyway, we start with this L system, and yeah, I'm just going to go over this one. We're extracting like the endpoints and just generating a size channel for each point, like before. And here we're doing my favorite thing, which is creating a sphere out of a cube by subdividing it. You can like subdivide a lot in Blackjack fast. So I'm copying the sphere to each of the positions with randomized sizes. I'm making them smooth and adding some noise here. You know, we are making them more disturbed with these parameters here. Then we're doing this other thing where, if you look at this here, I'm going to disable the, yeah. So if you look, each of these is shaded like an individual sphere. So you get like the highlight up on top, and you get the black part down in the bottom. So you can clearly see like this is mashed together spheres. And there's a very cool trick you can do for that, which is getting this sphere and transferring the normals from the sphere to the tree. And it doesn't look super great in app, but you'll see that this is something that is the basis for the technique that we are using to shape this in Godot and make it look very, very well, very good. So, yeah, for the trunk, I just made this make trunk node, which basically you get to control the shape of the circle. So it's like well, it's a circle with noise basically. You get like multiple seats, and you can get like something a bit more interesting than a circle. And I chose this one because it looks great for the tree. Made it a bit smaller and just used it as the base for like creating this just overlapping geometry. This is not great, but it works well for doing. And last thing I'm going to show on Blackjack before we jump into Godot is that I'm just setting materials here. And materials to Blackjack are only one attribute that's attached on each face, and it's like an integer or a float in this case, because we don't have integers, but that's another story. So anyway, it's just a number, and when you merge the two of them, you get like a bunch of zeros and a bunch of ones. But you'll see right now that this is everything we need, because my belief is that why should the 3D modeling application put in a lot of effort into having a material editor that you will not be able to see in your game? You can craft beautiful materials in Blender that nobody can really see in your game when it's running at runtime. So let's just let users edit these materials on the engine and stay out of the way where we cannot help. And this is what I did. So let's do just one tiny thing with this tree, which is what I've been calling promoting some parameters. So here, this add noise node, this is a nice one to promote. I can come here and like the scale, promoting it as a scale. And then the strength. And we'll, of course, also export the L system rule, the star of the show. So the names I'm putting here are just for the user to see. And now that we have selected the parameters that we want our users to be able to tweak, let's export this as what I've been calling a jack. Jack is like a Blackjack procedural model that you can load in your game. And let's go here. This is like a Godot project that I've just set up. And export this as tree.jack. And let's jump into Godot. So there we go. This is like a scene I prepared, but there's no magic here. The only two things I did was like coming here and enabling the engine plugin, which is something that you just drag and drop into your project, and then setting up like this light and this camera. So nothing too fancy. It should be pretty easy to set up. So with that, let's just drop in a Blackjack node, which is like Jack from Blackjack. Anyway, and as you can see here, there's this like Jack resource. So if we drag and drop our thing here, bam, we got the tree. And that's literally everything you need to do to get your procedural models being drawn in Godot. This is not exporting as GLTF or OBJ or anything like that. This is like Blackjack creating a mesh in the Godot format for Godot and taking care of all the nuances, like, I don't know, UVs in Godot are inverted for some reason. So it's just flipping them as it goes and making sure that everything will look great. And you will get your model as you designed it in your game. And the parameters are tweakable. So things that we exported and play with them on engine. Even like the L system. This is running all the Lua code inside. So yeah, I made this plugin using Godot Rust and also a bunch of like CD script. And the cool thing is that what I was talking about. So we want to customize how this looks. So we go here and we have material slots. Let's create a couple of materials. You get as many slots as you want. Just there are ETCs. So material 0 is going to be like green. Don't worry about that one too much. And let's choose some brownish thing for the trunk. And we got our tree. And this would be nice for, like, I don't know, a low poly game or something with different style of what I'm going for. But with just a bit of magic, you can make it look very nice. So yeah, there you go. Fluffy trees in Godot being with Blackjack. That's the idea that we're going for. And yeah, the thing I did with the normals, you can see it here playing up very nicely, because the whole tree is being shaded like as if it were like a sphere, which gives it this fluffy look. This is not a technique that I came up with. I just found a nice blog post online describing it, and I implemented it here. But yeah, it looks quite nice, and now you can like play around with things. And I don't know, I'm not very good with these formulas, but yeah, we got something. Oh, sorry. So yeah, anyway, this is the thing that I wanted to show today. And yeah, I think we're pretty much done. So
nice.
Yeah, and yeah, just a reminder.
Yes, definitely go check out the repo. Yes. Can you go back to Godot for a second? So all of this was like, sure. Okay, cool. I see that there's a pipeline. I see that you can bring stuff into Godot. Cool. But as soon as you changed one of the switches in Godot and it literally changed this tree, I was blown away by that. So what I'm wondering is this just that Lua is changing it, or is Blackjack actually running in the background of Godot because of the plugin?
Yeah, basically, I'm bringing the whole of Blackjack as a library inside Godot. Not the whole of it. I'm just stripping out the UI. I've structured this like there's like the Blackjack engine crate, which is all the procedural mesh, the graphs, and all the data structures. And this is running using Godot Rust inside of Godot as a plugin. So you are getting the exact same engine in Godot. So you'll be getting the exact same model.
All right, perfect. One question in chat from Rob Swain. What is needed to write a plugin, and is it much work?
So a plugin, you mean like a custom node, or?
I maybe on the Godot side, maybe also on. So the next question by Rob was also, would it be possible to have a Bevy plugin for this? And so maybe on what was it like on the Godot side, on the Godot Rust, but also what's it like on the Bevy side?
So yeah, I mean, time is limited, so I wasn't able to showcase this today. But yeah, it should be pretty easy to set up a Bevy plugin. I can show you that the I mean a bit of behind the scenes, but where's this? There we go. So this file is 400 line ish is the integration, and the core thing is this function, which is like how fetch mesh to Godot mesh. This is like the mesh that Blackjack is using, and I'm just iterating the channels here, getting the right channels that I need to upload to the engine, things like the positions, the UVs, the normals, and creating a mesh in the engine's native format. This is the main function that you need to write for an integration, and it's not too hard. It didn't take me a lot of time to do this with Godot. I wanted to do this for Bevy as well, actually, because I've been playing around with it in Bevy, and it looked easy enough, but I didn't have to. But should be pretty easy.
Nice. Well, good stuff. I think we'll end questions there, but there's definitely a lot of extra chatter going on in the Rust Gamedev Discord, so definitely go check that out. And thank you so much for this talk. I think what I'll even do is maybe separate this into like its own video, because I think it's like a really good overview of Blackjack.
Thanks.
And so people can go rewatch this on YouTube later.
Cool.
All right. See you sometime in the future, hopefully. Cheers.
Sure. Bye.
All right. Hello, Elias.
Hello.
We'll be talking about Dotricks now, and I haven't heard about Dotricks in a few months, so I'm very excited to hear where some of the progress has come. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Forrest. Hi, everyone. And it's really have been a long time ago, and I am really excited to tell you what is new in Dotricks. And we are actually was working in a huge mess of ideas, playing around with all the stuff and making some experiments, learning a lot of new things. And finally, I can say that the general concept of our engine is somehow settled. Funny thing is that one of the most asked questions to me was, what's the difference between Dotricks and some other engines? And finally, I have answer for this. And we have three basic principles settled for Dotricks. One of them is linear ECS, our simple implementation of ECS, and we really like it. We use it. It works for us. Based on this, we've been using so-called systems a lot, and actually everything was built around systems in our engine. But funny thing is that they actually never been systems as they are supposed to be in ECS pattern, not like pure ECS pattern. And we decided to change it and rethink all this model. And this is how the new task-driven logic concept appeared. And currently we have some MVP implementation of this, and I will tell more about it during this presentation. And the third thing is GPU-driven rendering, and this is something that we want to implement and what we will start playing with in July. So a little bit more about task-driven logic. As I said, we've been using systems a lot, and they never were actual systems because they were mostly working with shared data that we call services in Dotricks terms. We never had them parallelized in any way, and we always wanted just we've been waiting for some experience from the engine itself, and finally we've got this experience. We knew what we wanted to do, and it was all about the context of these tasks that we use. We found that we want to build some logical chains of these tasks. For example, so one task can provide some data to another task, and so until the rendered frame or whatever. And we've been playing with these and implemented new crate. It is available on GitHub. I will show you later. And another thing is that we decided to change is systems. We want to implement systems in as a closures, as a Rust closures, instead of having them as functions as it now. But it's already too much words. I would like to show it. So in the upcoming Dotricks release, we want to use new way of scheduling these tasks. These circles on the scheme represents data, and rectangles are tasks. So for example, if we speak about assets loading, we can implement some task that will load a file from the file system, and this task can be reused for different files with different formats and provide us some raw asset data like, I don't know, some data buffer. And we will have 5 instances of this task, providing some data structure that will be used as input for another task. And as soon as this task may do some typical work, we can have just one instance of this task, and it will be called 5 times. And to connect this data from output of one task to input to another task, we are using so-called selectors. And in case if we want one task to use any instance of some data coming from other tasks, we use any selector. And once this task can be called 5 times and provide some, let's say, final asset data structure, we need to collect them. And for this, we have another selector, all. And by collecting all assets, the scene builder task can receive iterator that will go through all of these tasks and prepare some scene that will be rendered. And after this, the frame is over. This is very short and very abstract representation of what should be done, but it represents very common issue, common problem that we wanted to solve. First, branching to several parallel executions, and then gathering of the results and passing them to some other workers, some other handlers. And we have it done. I would like to show you some code and how it works. So here I have some basic application. It uses the scheduling park separately from Dotricks only to test the concept. And here is this kind of raw data, asset data, and scene data. It doesn't matter what really is inside of these structures, because it's just for demo purposes. And I have here several tasks defined. One of them is asset loader, which has no dependencies and should just start as soon as the execution process started by scheduler. And it provides the raw set that can be read from file system. The task itself doesn't read anything, but it generates some, it takes some random delay in constructor and just sleep for some time, for some random time, and provide asset with the name. Later, the reader task should take any instance of raw set data and provide some new data structure called asset. And here's what you can see in the task itself. Finally, the scene builder will receive all the assets and collect them in the shared data, which is called some storage in this example. Inside there is just some Rust vector. You can see that this task is also dependent on some state data, but it is not currently used. and the code is not readable. I don't know actually how can I make it bigger. Maybe I can go this way. I think this should be better now, hopefully. So, as I said, here's the context. That context of the task comes as input for the task, and it can accept some data as input from another task. In this case, it is iterator over all the assets provided by asset loader, and some shared resource called some storage in this example, and also some state service to control the states. And in the end, the renderer task should accept the scene and provide some rendering. In the application itself, I just create several tasks for loading assets, add them to task manager, and also schedule the asset reader as a scene builder and renderer. And then I can run the loop for the scheduling, which actually executes all the I'll return to the scheme. All the cycle, and when you need, you can restart it. So, if I run the example, you can see that in the very beginning, several instances of asset loader runs, and with some random delay, and provides data to the next task, which is called asset reader. The first file that was handled called model loggers camp GLTF, and this is the exact file that was handled first by asset reader. In the end, they all were gathered into a scene and passed 8 entities to the renderer. This is just a proof of concept for the scheduling itself. So these tasks are just a mock-up of some jobs for future. But in the end, we will connect it to rendering mechanism of the engine. The next thing that is planned for the release, and we did several preparations on the engine, and we've been learning some stuff about, is GPU-driven rendering. There is a very nice article on the vkguide.dev about it. We've been inspired a lot, and this is something we started to implement in our engine. Long story short, it is the technique to store huge buffers with meshes, materials, and using another buffers with some control information, render huge scenes with just one draw call of the renderer. Hopefully, I will be able to present some MVP of these next month. Both huge changes are scheduled for the next release under number 0.6. And we've started already to prepare some data, some articles, some tutorials for this, and we started to publish it on our new website that was launched just today. You're welcome to visit it, check some data that we prepared, specifically about the multitasking, and in years future there will be much more information on these web pages. So this is it for now, and if you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them.
All right. Very cool seeing all of these structural updates. And also, I didn't know that you had put out a blog post. I'm just checking out the website now. So I always love blog posts. I think you should write another one with everything that you just talked about. I love to read them. But one thing I was wondering is, so Tog came in last month and talked to us about a game that they're working on instead of Dotricks. And I was curious, actually, I guess you have a community tab right here, so I might even answer it. But what are some other cool projects you see going on in Dotricks at the moment?
I think that the biggest one is the one that Tog runs, and we are still have our projects inside of our company, but this is more like a playground for now. We're still preparing some assets, and one day I will show what we have, but we are developing something. Then we found some stuff in the engine itself that we want to change. We switch, and then we need to rewrite the code of the game itself. So it's longer than we would love to.
Of course. Now, just out of curiosity, I noticed that your desktop background is the same as the Dotricks background. Does that happen to be the project? Or sorry, like the Dotricks website?
Sorry, once again? I didn't
your desktop background. Yeah, so the background that's here is the same as the background on your computer, I think.
No.
Okay.
No, not really. It's just another low poly.
Nice.
This is just some kind of wallpaper, while this is really our rendering.
Nice. Okay, very cool. Well, thank you very much, Elias, for coming out and showing stuff off. I do hope that we can see some more blog posts this month, because it looks like there's a lot of thought going into the process behind a lot of the ECS and other structuring and stuff. And so, yeah, and I hope you can see you next month as well.
Yep. Thank you for possibility to present the stuff.
Absolutely.
And see you soon.
See you later. All right. Oh, wait. There we go. Hello, Kevin. Oh, wow. I was like,
Hello.
Okay, we're getting Graphite Kevin today, but we get Graphite blending into Kevin. Very cool. All right. Tell us what has been happening in the Graphite community this month.
Yes, awesome. So over the past month, we've worked mostly on some structural changes to the underlying code. And so there's not too much. We're actually not going to have a live demo, but I can go over a little bit of the most exciting parts of that. But first, if you're tuning in for the first time and you're not familiar with what Graphite is, let me quickly give you a bit of a rundown. The goal is essentially to make a 2D graphics editor that is professionally oriented, something that could potentially replace GIMP or Photoshop or Inkscape or Illustrator. It aims to do both vector and raster at the same time, because there's really no reason to split it up into two programs. And the most important part is that it's procedural and non-destructive. So when you make changes, when you create artwork, you can always go back and make changes to your decisions that you made earlier on in the artistic process. And basically everything gets encoded into nodes, which are, as we saw earlier in the Blackjack demo, which was very exciting. The idea is to do that except for 2D instead of 3D. So you can go back and make changes, and basically everything gets encoded into what appears like a layer stack, like a layer panel, but also that exact same data is represented in a node graph as well. So this sort of brings something like Houdini, which was also shown, also given a bit of a rundown in the earlier presentation on Blackjack, bringing some of those concepts over to the 2D world. Here's a quick overview of the UI if you just want to quickly glance at it, we have been working this month on updating this, specifically on updating the layer panel on the right side. But that is not represented in this because that set of changes is still a work in progress. And here's what it would look like in this earlier mockup of the node graph. And of course, this is also changing a little bit, but still being mostly similar. So let's quickly go over the progress for Sprint 16, which was this past month. So we rewrote the internal vector data structures that represent basically all the Bezier curves and all the actual vector artwork internally within the entire editor. And this has been a really long time coming, and basically the goal has been to make thousands of lines of changes to all the systems that actually deal with vector data, which being a vector graphics application, that's kind of everything. And this is allowing us to remove a dependency that we had, which represented data in an SVG style format, but it actually makes it very difficult to process and manipulate and do math and do changes on that data as we go. So we're basically making our own data structure that better represents the actual task at hand, and then we simply convert it to SVG at the very end when it actually comes time to render it. So this allows us now to make changes to the pen tool and basically implement the pen tool in a complete way where it actually does all the things you would expect that the pen tool allows you to do when you're modifying vector shapes. So that's an exciting thing that has unlocked some progress, and we also now get to use those same changes with basically they become the internal data structure not only for the application, but also those same changes apply to the node graph, which is coming up very soon as well. We also made some changes to the internal way that we represent messages. So basically the application, the internal business logic for the application works by sending messages between different systems. And we made it so instead of just simply either adding a new message to the front or the back of a queue, we instead have sort of like a call stack where a queue, where representing a message or adding a message to the queue actually happens within a stack frame sort of concept. So if you're processing a sub message or like you're processing a message, then any messages that are dispatched from that message get added to this stack frame of messages. So that way you have to go and process all of those messages before stepping out of that stack frame and then processing other messages that were sent earlier on by other parts of the application. So basically it makes it adds some guarantees about the ordering, and this fixed a number of bugs and a number of design and architecture problems that we had with the way that the message system was sometimes not carefully ordering the messages, and it resulted in some race conditions, or maybe not race conditions, but at least incorrect ordering, which broke things. And additionally, we made an event broadcasting system as part of the message system. So this allows us to generally broadcast an event and let users of that event subscribe. So that way we don't have to manually route the messages to everything that's concerned about that message. Instead, we just say, this is an event that happened, and if any particular part of the application is concerned about that, it's able to request a subscription to it, and then therefore whenever an event actually occurs, it's automatically notified. And this also helped us remove some bugs and generally simplify the architecture. We also now have the menu bar UI, and this allowed us to basically move some JavaScript code out of the JavaScript land and into Rust land. And this helps simplify our front-end code base and basically make the back-end code base a little bit more robust in terms of its usage of the UI representation and the UI declaration that is all Rust-based at the moment. Or it's almost entirely Rust-based. It started out being pretty heavily JavaScript-based, and we have moved pretty much all but like 3 or 4 buttons that do still need to be moved to Rust. So feel free to open a pull request if you'd like to help move any of those last buttons back to the back end. And then finally, we have some assorted bug fixes and crash fixes, just helping to make the application more robust, but nothing actually changed visibly in terms of actual features, so that's why I'm not going to do a demo for that. But then also we did a little bit of progress on making some UI mockup changes that are going to be part of the new node system, which is coming up this summer. So that's paving the way towards making that possible. And then finally, we are creating our own internal library, which is going to be published to the public soon. and this is called Bezier-RS, and the idea is basically we are implementing a lot of functions which allow you to do math on Bezier curves, both individual curves themselves as well as compound curves, which is like entire shapes made out of multiple Bezier curves. So I'm going to actually give a demo of this. So we can move over to the demo here. So this web page here is being powered by WebAssembly compiled from Rust, and basically it provides a demo of all the different functions that are currently provided. At this moment, all of the math functions are purely on a single curve segment, so it's not multiple segments that form a shape, but it's a single Bezier curve. So the constructor allows you to just specify the locations of things. So of course this is just a simple Bezier curve. This one here also is another way of constructing it, and it allows you to basically you define this point, and this point, and it's going to fit a curve to it. And you can also say, right now it's fitting a curve where that midpoint is through the middle, but you can also say that the t value changes, so the different time where this point occurs is somewhere off to the side, if that is what's needed for a particular context. And then same here for the cubic, you can fit these 3 points and it will fit in between, and you can also change t if you want. But additionally, you can say how much do you want to spread apart that midpoint. So you can either have a very tight separation, or you can separate it very widely, and that allows you to basically define a curve through points instead of defining the exact points themselves that make up the handles and the anchor points. We also have something to evaluate the length. So you can see in the bottom left corner, it displays the length of this curve. This one allows you to simply just determine what the point is at a certain t-value. This lookup table is basically a way of sampling many points, so you can determine how many you want sampled. The derivative gives you another curve, another Bezier curve, one order lower than the current curve based on its derivative. So this is a quadratic, which has a single control point, and it gives you back a line segment, which is a Bezier curve with 0 control points. And then here is a cubic, which has 2 control points, and it's giving you back a quadratic with 1 control point as its derivative. We also now have tangent here, so this allows you to determine the tangent along the curve at a certain t-value. We have normal, which is tangent but 90 degrees separated. We have split, which basically turns a single curve into 2 curves, cut up at a certain point. And this is going to be very useful when we use the pen tool. This is going to be implemented very soon, where you click on a part of the curve with a pen tool, and it splits a segment into 2 segments, so that way you can drag around that midpoint. You can drag around that new point that is created. Here also is the same one for cubic, where you just split it up at a certain t-value. And trim does that, except it does it on both ends, so you end up with one basically subcurve as a result of that. Now we have project. This basically shows where is the closest point to my mouse. We have local extrema, and this is telling you, so for linear it doesn't have any, but for quadratic, the green points are the y extrema, and the red points are the x extrema, so it's showing you where the extrema are. And for cubic, because it's a tighter curve, it has more curvature, you can see there are more extrema here. We have rotate. This basically just allows you to rotate a curve. And then last couple of them, we can intersect through a line segment, and coming up soon is intersecting any arbitrary Bezier curve with any other arbitrary Bezier curve, but right now we just support the line ones. And finally, reduce basically simplifies the curve into more well-behaved curves that you can basically apply an offset to. So you can essentially extrude the width of the curve and create ones on both sides of it using these simplified curves, because An ordinary arbitrary curve is too complex to be able to represent, to be able to mathematically represent an offset. So if you wanted to be able to like provide an outline by extruding and widening the curve, basically you have to make it into many smaller segments that are able to be well behaved and represent that outline. So the reason that we're doing this is that this is sort of like stage 1, where we're doing individual segments, but stage 2 is going to be combining multiple of these segments together. So you, for example, the length here, telling you how long a single segment is, we'll be able to then say what is the length of an entire shape, an entire set of these curves that are combined together. Or we can say what is the intersection of a line through the entire shape, or what is the closest point of my mouse to the entire shape. So stage 2 is basically taking all of these curves together and forming shapes out of them, and being able to do this math on entire shapes, which is needed for a vector editor where we can click on something and we only determine if you click on it if you were within 1 or 2 pixels of the shape you clicked on. And then it's going to then have things like Boolean operations between shapes. So we currently do have Boolean operations in our code base, but we want to move this over to this library to actually make it so we can provide this to the community as an entire library instead of just being integrated into our code base directly. So in the next probably few months, we will have this available on the Rust Great ecosystem. So stay tuned for that. And of course, if this is something that's interesting to you, please feel free to contribute as well. I'd like to give a shout out to the various members of the group who are working on this for a school project, and they have very kindly volunteered their time to make this happen because
Hello, Kevin. I don't know if you can hear me, but we have lost your camera and audio. While Kevin's fixing this, I just want to give a shout out to Freya for her video on Bezier curves. If people haven't seen that, it's like a 25-minute experience, let me tell you. It's very good. Kevin will rejoin, so Kevin will be back in just a second. Okay, actually, perfect. Okay, intermission time. We are going to play some Rusty Jam games. Okay, so I don't think streaming it will be audible to other people because Linux, but I'll just speed through a few of them. And I haven't played them yet, so it could be good, could be bad. I did open this one up, so I did see we have like KWSD, mouse to zoom and dezoom. Okay, mouse to attract dogs. Okay, so stuff comes towards me, I guess. Click on the wolves to scare them away. Okay, let's see. Oh, nice. That's pretty great. There's some good sound effects here too. All right, so I have to stay alive for 73 seconds. Also, I think this one, I don't remember all the places, but oh, there's a lot more wolves now. Okay, so I need to like, okay, the sheep are not going in the direction that I would like them to. Oh no. Okay, now I see how it gets a little bit more difficult here. All right, cool. So this is the first one here. It looks like Kevin is back, so I will hand it back over to him. All right, we are good.
Okay, and you can hear me, right?
Yes. Perfect.
Okay, how long ago did I cut out? I think my camera overheated.
Probably right after I mentioned, or right before I mentioned it. I don't remember what point that was, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think I was just going over why we're building this. Basically, because existing libraries do support small amounts of the problem space that we're trying to solve, such as they just support these individual segments, or they support some of the functions that are part of what we need. But basically, we need full support over segments and shapes. And to do that, we basically need to write our own library, because there doesn't seem to be anything in the Rust ecosystem, or even other programming language ecosystems really, that are a robust Bezier math library for entire vector shapes. So that's why we're building our own, and we hope to publish this in the ecosystem very soon. And also a big shout out to the school group that is working on this, college group that are doing this as a semester-long project, or a multi-semester long project, since we don't really have the resources to both work on the editor as well as this library. So anyways, if you are also interested in adding additional features, feel free to submit a pull request if you would find this useful. So yeah, anyways, that is that. So with that in mind, please feel free to get involved. Try out editor.graphite.rs right now in your browser. It'll open up the entire editor within 1 second, and it's all WebAssembly based, so it just runs there. We're also working on trying to get a native version. Now that it looks like Tari came out with 1.0, we're investigating creating a native desktop version with that. Well, sort of native. It still uses the web, but it uses your operating system's web view, so that is reasonably high performance and low resources. Anyways, so yes. And then come visit us at graphite.rs, check out the website, and join our Discord server at discord.graphite.rs. And feel free to pick up any of the GitHub issues that might look interesting to you. So yes, and then here is a list of what we did this sprint, mostly just back into things. And here are all the issues that are open for if you're interested. Feel free to check any of these out. So yeah, thank you.
Very clean, I like it. All right. We have a few questions from chat. So first of all, someone's saying that they're very excited about Graphite. Looks like the type of thing that they want to use. So that's great.
Glad to hear it.
Can't wait to use Bezier curves like this. Quality of life improvement all around. Very true. And then, okay, here's a question. So does Bezier RS support calculating points that are equal distances apart? For example, a constant velocity camera path.
Yeah, so that is what the lookup table one does here. This is, if I can try and really squish the curve apart. Oh, actually, maybe it doesn't. Okay, well, it should. Maybe that's not the purpose of lookup table. But what you can do is you can use evaluate multiple times. I may have misunderstood what.
Yeah, okay.
I may have misunderstood what the purpose of lookup table is. Actually, wait, this doesn't look right at all. I'm gonna have to ask the people that are working on this why this doesn't seem to be what we need. Okay, because that is clearly a longer arc length on the left half than on the right half. Interesting.
Yeah, Rob just mentioned the same thing. It looks like the points are a bit different, but yeah, that's an interesting artifact there.
I will definitely have to ask about that. Okay.
All right, good stuff. Well, Kevin, thank you very much, as always, for showing up Graphite. Excited to see what you have next month. And actually, I don't know if you mentioned it, but I want to know your research. Like, do you have any timelines on when it's going to be integrated into Graphite?
For the brush rendering?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that technically could be done sort of any time, because that could basically be implemented. It's very vector-like, essentially, because all it is taking a vector path of a mouse movement and extruding a triangle strip out of it so that a texture can be drawn on it. Mm-hmm. So that could all be done with WGPU. And then the resulting texture of that triangle strip, when it gets rendered, could then be just inserted as an SVG into the page. So we could potentially do that at any time. If anyone's interested, feel free. But I think at this moment we're trying to move more quickly towards getting the node system, which is going to require a massive refactor of a lot of the code as we switch from layers to nodes. And the more code we write that we have to ultimately port over to that system would basically just be wasted effort. So it's probably better to get that done sooner and then worry about adding extra features on top of that so they don't have to be ported over.
For sure. All right, well, good stuff. And also, again, from Robert, thanks to the college students. It's always great having people come on and doing some work on projects because it's part of their school. So we love to see it. And yes. I guess we'll see you next month.
Indeed. Thank you.
All right. I love that fade out. So good. Okay, so we are at the end of the meetup. So feel free to move over to Discord and hang out with the speakers. I'm going to stick around for about 5 or 10 minutes on stream. And so if you want to have both open, if you want to hang out here, if you want to hang out there, feel free. So I'm just going to try to run through several of the games here. And also I think I can one sec, I can turn on some music. Lo-fi. Okay, there we go. I think that's good. Cool. So let us take a look at this one. Okay, I really like the looks of what I'm seeing here. So left click to pick and place a piece, right click to cancel placement. Okay, good controls, good and elegant. Oh my goodness, this is super cool. Okay, so I have a certain amount of money. I can place stuff in the grid. I'll cancel that so that I can maybe put a red one here. Let's see what happens. Oh, am I building like a tower defense kind of thing? Oh, I am. Okay, so presumably only certain colors can shoot one another. And, okay, I wonder what would happen if I do this. Can I kill this? I don't know if I can kill that. So I don't know if I've like messed this up because now, as far as I can tell, I can't build on here. So I think I must probably need a refresh here. All right. I understand what's going on. So let's build a bit bigger of a base first and then see who comes. And as far as I can tell, there's no range limitations on this, and so I don't have to like worry about where I place something. So maybe if I place this one over here, yeah. I really love this art. Very minimalistic, but it also looks like something I can make. You know, it's like very, 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 very good looking, but also like a decent amount of program art too. I think this is a very good aesthetic. All right, let's see how far we can go. Okay, we got a yellow coming in from the top, I guess. So when I kill something, okay, I get more of that currency. That makes sense. So I guess there's no reason for me not to place all... Oh, gosh. Oh! That one came in fast. Okay, I like that game. I like that game. I think there's some really interesting stuff that can be done with like progression in that. Okay, controls WASD, catching an animal with E, inspecting, right click. Oh wait, this is the one that Carlo is working on. Very cool, very cool. All right, so I'll give this a try. I just need WASD and E and right click and left click and middle mouse. Cool. I can figure out the rest. All right, press enter here. Oh, I like it. I like it. Okay. So I'm trying to catch up to. Okay, I got a cow and horse pieces. Can I put a horse together? All right. Maybe middle mouse. I'm not sure what my spellbook is doing here, but okay, farmer. Okay, okay. So you got to keep an eye out for the villagers. Oh no, there's a wall over here. All right, I like. So I guess that's what's happened to the chicken a little bit. I think my let's game over. I survived one day. Unfortunate. Okay, on to the next one. Walk around the block. All right, so what are we doing here? Description: WASD, IJKL, IJKL, gamepad, yanks the yellow pet. Okay. Yes, let us walk. IJKL. Okay. This is pretty great. Okay. Sad chipmunk noises. Oh, because my dogs are fighting other people, I guess. So the dog gets points. Oh, and then gets pet. So now, so I could tug this leash if my dog's about to die, I guess. Okay, so can I get the chicken? Oh, I got a pet. Perfect. Can I get pets? Oh, I don't like it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Everybody get back here. This reminds me a lot of Quap. Oh no, the chickens and they're very far. Okay, more pets. All right, perfect. Oh my gosh, I thought this was two different pets, but it's just chicken dog. I forgot about the theme. I feel like movement is oh no. I think movement is it makes sense sometimes, but I guess I pooped on the grass over there. It feels like I'm a little bit not going in the direction I want to all the time. Okay, here, let's see if I can get my army to take out whatever this is. A chicken. All right, I think they did pretty well with the theme here. I quite like their use of dog chicken and dog chicken. All right, let's check out. What time are we at now? About 5 more minutes here. Wait, I already did this one. Okay, so made with bevy. Okay. Okay, WASD and shoot eggs. Oh, is it? It's League of Legends. It's League of Legends as a chicken game. Oh gosh, I don't think that's the way to go. Wait, can I build this tower? Or is it just over time? Okay, so what if I go up this lane? Oh yeah, this is a strat. Nice. Capture all 9 objective points. Oh, okay, never mind. So I gotta just capture this one by standing over it. Okay, because then it turns into a chicken coop. Alright, let's see if I can capture one up here. Oh yeah, it's a doghouse up here. Oh, they're coming for me. Alright, so I guess nothing spawns from here after I get it. I like this take on the theme as well. Definitely didn't understand it right away, but got to figure it out. Oh, they're trying to take it back over. I see. Okay, very cool. We'll go on to the next one here. Click eggs to hatch a chicken. All right. Combine animals to help improve and buy upgrades. Okay. Okay, so I make a certain amount of money. I can only have a certain amount of eggs at once, and it takes 10 seconds per. So I need to spend 20 gold to upgrade that, which I think I want to do. It would be best if I could speed up production. I'm going to make more money as I get more eggs. And I don't think I need to upgrade this, like the amount of eggs, as long as I click within a few seconds. Oh, I need to upgrade them. Oh yeah, okay, now we're talking. Okay, so I've discovered up to the goat. I definitely love I don't know if you'd call this a idle game. It's yeah, definitely an idle game. But I love this genre, and so quite like this one. Now, do I make more money when I combine them? I'm curious about. Okay, well, let's just upgrade. Okay, if you're, I assume you can't hear the sound, but these sound effects are really, really good. I feel like the developer made the sound, maybe. Alright, since I'm not paying enough attention, well, how much is it for the next upgrade? 500. Okay, I think I'll call it here. I could play a lot of this game. I like that a lot, but I want to try to speed through the rest of these if I can. You are a failed experiment, a monster born of dog and chicken. Some might call you a chog. You possess a searing device to take out the person who created you. You can split yourself into a dog and chicken, but a chicken that has trouble thinking and a dog with only half a body can't do much. Movements is arrow keys. All right. Press spacebar while jumping. Oh, this one is a very interesting take. That's a pretty great mechanic. Okay, so I just need to get one of my bodies over there. Okay, so acceleration. Okay, I think I can get it this time. Okay, space puts me back together. Hey, all right. Leave by walking to the door. Okay. All right, I'll leave it here so that you can go and experience it yourself. I think this is a pretty good movement mechanics there. Find the dog chicken. And also, I should mention, everything that I'm playing here is just the stuff that is available on like the web build, or like a web build rather. And so, second chat. Yeah, so if I'm not showing off your game, but you submitted it, it's just because I went and searched by which ones are web games. So I can play it pretty easily. Okay, ZX, and V. Well, okay, let's see. Oh. Okay. So far I like this quite a lot. I really like games that like this looks quite elegant, very minimalistic. First item is combined, second item. Move the cursor around the list of items. Okay. So of course cow and fire. Beef. Okay. It's tree and fire. Tree and fire can't do something. Tree and basketball. Oh, so I can. I think because I discovered beef, now I can do beef and like spring, water and cow. Ah, iron ore. Okay, what else do we have here? Iron. Okay, Minecraft moment. Yeah, of course. Cloth and okay, cloth feels like it has to go with something. Cloth and plate. Cloth and cloth and steels and metal. Okay, cow and metal. Sad. And I guess I have to make it to probably dog and cat. Yeah, actually that makes so much sense. Like the final part of it is you have to combine a dog and cat. Okay, so how would I get to a dog? Oh, okay, comb, plate, beef and plate is a meal. Okay. Spring, like hot spring of water, I guess. Cow and spring. Which is he? Cow. Tree and spring. Okay, well, I'll let everybody go and explore on their own, but I like let's see. Yeah, okay, this is a pretty cool one. It does not work on Firefox. Okay, I'm not in Firefox, that should be fine. All right, we'll see if this loads. It may or may not. I'll leave that for a second. Okay, so, all right. Don't know if they will mention a. Okay, I guess this is just like a. Plasm clients follow the CLI to help start the server. So I guess you'll need a server to play. So I won't do that one. Oh my goodness, that one was very loud. I really hope that the audio isn't going through, but I am not sure. A Jan biological shooter born in unnamed lab. You must survive after. I don't know about waves here. This is just a physics simulation at this point. Or I don't even. It's just like a CPU meltdown simulation with everything going on here. Okay, use your pet bird to gather loot, grow size. Protect your hearth from enemy shots. Okay, maybe I can move stuff around. I cannot tell. All right, well, we will leave it there for now, I guess. So I think those were all the games I'm able to do in the web. So, not sure when we have the next Rusty Jam planned for, but this one was definitely a lot of fun to see everything that people put together. So let me just take a look through chat here before we end off. Bezier curves. Someone's watching the meetup on e-ink on a e-reader, I guess. Very cool. We'll see here. I've not read the Discord chat. Oh yes, okay. So I mentioned a shoutout video from Freya. So someone linked it. Wait, not this one. All right, this one right here. If you look at Bezier, like I'm pretty sure Bezier, it will be the first one there. It's a very good video. Oh, she's working on a spline video that goes way deeper. I'm very excited for that. Yeah, so this was made as part of 3 Blue 1 Brown's. It was like a contest for educational math videos, and it uses like the framework that 3 Blue 1 Brown uses, but it's like very, very high quality, and it walks through it. It's so elegant. I love it. Okay, perfect. So that is all for this month. We'll head over to Discord now if you want to come and hang out and chat with the speakers from this month. And other than that, we will be back next month. I guess it's after RustConf, so hopefully we'll see some people who have been there and hear from them on how their experiences were. All right, so we will see everybody next time.